Hi, this is CB, and in this tutorial I'm going to talk about a way to get a little bit of a color pop on your photos, as well as some vignetting. So I have here a photo of my son and daughter that was taken in the Bluebonnets last year, and it's a nice photo. And before you do these steps, you would want to go ahead and color correct, lighten, any of those things that you need to do before you do this, because these will be more like final steps. So let me bring the layers palette back in here so you can see it. First thing I'm going to do is duplicate this layer. I'm going to hit Control and J or Command and J on a Mac, and I'm going to do that twice because I'm going to merge these two layers together in a few minutes, and I want to have my original layer intact. So all we're going to do to get that color pop is what's called a self-blend mode. I'm going to change this mode from normal to soft light. You could try overlay. I think soft light is usually less harsh than overlay, but overlay may work better for your photo, you never know. And instantly, you see much more vivid colors. That grayish pallor, that sort of gray cast that we've got on here almost, it's sort of covering it, goes away, and it's much more punchy and vivid. And usually I even like to take my opacity and lower this down to 50, just to get something that's a little bit more subtle, but still, as you can see before and after, there's a dramatic difference, and it's much nicer. So that's the color pop. Now I'm going to, as I say, merge these two layers together, so the color pop is just one layer here, and I'm going to right click and choose merge down, or you can use the shortcut Control and E or Command and E on a Mac, and that would do it. So now let's do the vignetting. If you have later versions of Photoshop and Photoshop Elements, there's a filter called the lens correction under the distort menu. When that pops up, the first thing I would do is turn off the grid here. It's a checkbox that's at the bottom of this, being cut off the screen right now. And then you see there's vignette right here. So all you gotta do is slide the slider down, and you've got instant vignetting. And this works very well, and I use this a lot of the time, but it didn't darken the top of my picture as much as I like. And I'm going to show you a method here, I've canceled out of that will work in any version of Photoshop. We're going to sort of paint our own vignette here. So I'm going to create a new layer above these two and fill it with gray. The shortcut for that is Shift and Backspace, probably Shift and Delete on a Mac. I'm not quite sure about that though, but you'll want Fill, which is under Edit and Fill, and choose the 50% gray from all your choices here. Click OK. Now we change this blend mode again. Speaking of blend modes, go into overlay. This time you do want overlay. And we're going to paint black on this layer. So I need a brush, the brush tool here. And for my low res photo here, that's 72 pixels, this 100 pixel size is good. If you have a high res photo, you may find 300 to 500 is what you're going to need. And keep your opacity at 8% here, pretty low, definitely below 10. So on this layer, this gray layer, start painting around the edges and the tops, and I'm going to move my layers palette out of the way here while I do this, and just start working. I'm going to work really fast and start, especially the top. As I said, it wasn't getting done before in the vignetting, and just start darkening this in. I don't have to concentrate so much on the bottom because it's already a little bit darker on the bottom, but especially corners, I like to get corners pretty good and dark in, and there. Now, the nice thing about having this on its own layer is you can see if I turn it off, I could, trash this layer and start all over again. But it's also very easy to see on the thumbnail where you've been painting, as opposed to if I was painting directly on the picture. It might be a little bit harder to see. So here's before. This is before we did the color pop and the vignetting, and by doing just these few steps, which really don't take that long, we've got something that looks a lot more dramatic, a little bit, well, I hate to use the word professional, but if you've seen some professional photos, they have vignetting and this rich color, so it's given it a little bit more of that, and it's just a much nicer photo, I think. It's a nice technique you can add to really get a photo on a scrapbook page to look better. I'm CB, and thanks for watching.